Everybody, welcome back. I'm the Stretch Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign using the SFO mod. So special thanks to Venrus and his team for making this mod. If you've never tried it out, it is amazing. Definitely go buy the Steam store, check it out. And we're going to be doing Balthasar Gelt, a new Empire campaign. Now, this is on the Bloodgrounds update, and this is after Marcus Wolfheart has released. So I did do a Wolfheart campaign probably a few months ago at this point. I did like that a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was very different. I thought that was one of the most innovative campaigns out there. But I did do it without SFO because SFO didn't update for about another month or two after it came out. Because for some reason they don't get early access to it. I really wish that CA would give them early access, but whatever. We're going to go back through, check it out now, and I think it's worth exploring Balthasar again here. Now, I have done Balthasar quite a bit in the past. I have probably like maybe 3 or 4 different campaigns from him over the last couple of years, so he is probably my favorite Legendary Lord on 4 Empires, because he does a whole lot of different things that he sort of specializes in. Although I did like the Wolfheart one a lot too, so Wolfheart and Balthasar are both really awesome. But another thing they updated with kind of the free LC with this Empire update was they added a whole bunch of new diplomatic things that you can do in the normal kind of Empire territory in the provinces that we didn't really get to experience with Marcus, because Marcus takes place down in Lustria, which is great. Once again, and I love the supply line system and all that, but we didn't get to play around with the new politics. And SFO has gone through and updated a lot of the events to make them cooler. They've rebalanced a lot of things. Then they have their standard, really awesome suite of landmark buildings you can get up here and different objectives you can capture that just make it a really cool and interesting campaign. Empire is definitely one of my favorite factions out there. And I'll explain why as we get in there a little bit more, and I'll explain some of these changes as well. Just really quick, what's the overview with Balthasar Gelt? He has a new starting position, so that's good. It's in the southern, in the southern provinces of Solon, so kind of close to the vampires and Averland. That's right, Rory, good job.
Did Daddy eat an entire pizza by himself for lunch?
He may have, yeah.
Okay. I guess Mommy won't be having pizza for dinner.
Why not?
Because there's no more pizza left. I came in and I was like, he will have left me not have pizza.
I mean, you could make another one. So, anyways, everybody in your faction gets an additional 15 starting Winds of Magic, which is amazing. So not just the whatever total amount, but it's the starting amount is plus 15. So that means you're very often going to get into the 30s and 40s with your starting magic, which is really good. The plus 10 armor is also really awesome on a lot of your units. Now, a lot of your stuff is not going to have a ton of armor early. They have buffed with SFO your initial units to have 50, I believe. So you have a little bit more armor than the baseline game anyways. But this extra 10 is still a big deal. 10% upkeep reduction for artillery is pretty nice. Artillery is a lot cheaper in SFO relative to the other units in the game, but that's definitely a welcome boost. Plus 2 capacity for battle wizards is really good later on because Empire requires you to have a tier 4 building to get to battle wizards. And that obviously takes a long time to build up to that. So that's something to keep in mind. And you get 25% off of battle wizards. So you get to save a little bit of money. They are expensive. They're about 400 gold, I believe, unmounted. So that's solid. And then you get, for him personally, you get 20% research rate, which is great. There are a ton of new researches that you can get, which we'll talk about as we go through. Minus 20% cost for Lore of Metal, which is really strong with him. 10% missile damage for artillery. 5% hero action chance for wizards. I don't think we'll be using them for their stuff that often, but we might. I don't remember if they have damage walls. They might have damage walls on the wizards. We'll check it out when we get in there. Recruit rank plus 2 for the wizards, and then plus 1 for the Luminarch. We get up there to tier 5. And they have a nice assortment of units that are all pretty strong. You get a mortar early, outriders, and great swords. So, legendary, very hard. Let's go ahead and get in there. Now, what is it about Empire that I like so much? Well, they have such a great diversity of units that are all, like, most of them are pretty useful in a bunch of different situations. So, I wouldn't say the Empire is the best at any specific thing, per se, but they're just really good at a lot of different things. So they're kind of like your Swiss Army knife faction that has a lot of different options. And that's how human-ish type of factions are typically in most fantasy games. It's usually they're kind of the jack of all trades. So I think that makes them very fun. They also have a lot of different technologies that help out with things. They have a ton of landmark buildings, which is really awesome. So it adds a lot of extra, like, a lot of extra meaning to different, like, places that you can occupy. Now, with this kind of provincial system that they have up here.
Hail to you, Lord.
All right, we'll go ahead and just skip that. Now they have like some of the most. They already had like some of the most interesting diplomacy, but now they have even more so. Yeah, this new elector count system. Basically, if you can control these different properties, then you get bonuses. So if you control this, then you get to assign somebody into this elector count spot, I believe. Now, I've only tried out a few episodes of this just to kind of see what I wanted to do on the starting turns. But this lord gets access to these buffs, and then he gets a special item that does these things, and you get access to a special, it's kind of like a Regiment of Renown, but it's a little bit different. So we saw this in the Wolfheart campaign where there were all of these like special units we never had access to. And these are what those are. You have to control a certain place, and I believe only that elector count can hire those. Other people might be able to hire them. I'm not sure about that, if anyone can hire them, but it might just be the elector count. But they're pretty rare. I think you can only hire one every 10 turns or so. I know the one for Balthasar that I have here is on cooldown for the first 10 turns, so I don't know. There might be certain events that give you more of them over time. I don't really know how that works. But the item that we start off with is this one, which is pretty good. The Solid Runefang, the -8 leadership is pretty nice against the AI. So early on, that's pretty solid. You get this Eldridge's Guard, which is a pretty good old spear infantry here. Has a lot of armor. Has that buff there with the little skull on it, which gives, I believe, an extra like physical resist, 15% physical resist to lords and heroes around him. So overall, pretty decent. So it's fun. So you get to go through and try to collect these different things. Now, how do you get them? Well, units have a certain fealty to you, and you can see this fealty is based on different events that have happened. So they'll have a base fealty, and then there is something to do with your positive imperial authority, which I'll show you here in a second. You can get technologies. I don't know about allowed expansion and reinstated elector count. So I guess if they are taken over, and then you take it back, and you allow them to have their own person, then maybe they'll come back to you. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. If you can defend their settlements, or there might be certain political events. I'm not sure at defending settlements. I guess if aggressors are coming through and actively, attacking somebody, and you swoop in and fight the aggressor, fight them off, then that might give you a little bit of a bonus. Now, the negative ones are interesting to think about here. Demanded settlements, I'm not sure what that means precisely, but we'll see. Decline to defend a settlement. Negative imperial authority. Now, that might mean that if you own something in the region, maybe that's what it is. If you own something in the region and you defend settlements from aggressors, then you get bonuses. So this might be like this region has a certain fealty even after you own it. I'm not sure. So we'll see how the elector feels about it. It says the owning factions matter. So I'm still going to learn a lot about this as you are, but I did try just for fun to declare war on like some of the nearby elector counts, and you basically, it goes down to declared war, and it's 4 points off. where you declare war to the person. That goes down a lot, but it goes 4 points off on this, your Imperial Authority. Now, this is a sliding scale like a lot of factions. If it goes all the way up, then you get these bonuses, which is nice, but most of the time it's going to be down. So you get negative growth, negative public order, and it starts to get a lot worse. Negative tax rate. It was declining Imperial Authority. Negative research rate. And then down here, it's all elector counts declare war on you if you go real hard. So this means that I think you can't really declare war on elector counts unless you have a lot of this leadership built up. And the way that you get that is through gaining empire settlements, getting all these other things. So the only way that you gain settlements for the empire, I believe, is you have to kill vampire counts. We're definitely going to try to go after them soon in the campaign. Or if like Chaos or Norska takes some stuff up here and you take it back, then you might gain it back. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into a fight here real quick, and then I'll explain some more of the new system. But that's kind of how the new thing works. And then you get this prestige, which is kind of like the high elf, basically, as far as I can tell. So you use it to improve diplomatic relations, and you can still do normal diplomacy stuff too with them. You know, you can still offer them money to improve this. But this diplomacy is not the same thing as the elector fealty. Now, if you have high diplomatic relations with the faction that owns the Reichland zone or whatever it's called, that owns the elector area, where the elector count is a member of that faction, I believe it gives you more fealty. But they're not directly correlated. So in theory, you could have like, you know, 1,000 political points with somebody, and they still would not confederate with you unless you have 10 fealty.
Arrogant fools. Refusing union weakens us all.
Now, one final thing, and then we'll get into this fight here, is that SFO added this new thing in, Imperium, which is another penalty on Legendary. I don't know if it's on lower ones or not, but basically it gives you negative 20 relations with all factions early on. And as you gain more and more settlements, then this penalty changes. So you start to get neutral and then positive relations with factions, but you get higher upkeep costs and higher recruitment costs as it goes up. So that just adds a little bit of extra challenge to trying to manage all of the money. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and so how we're gonna start early. We definitely want to go for Carrot Cairn. This is actually over to the Greenskins early on. So they own one of our properties here, and then they own this property. So I think we definitely want Carrot Cairn early, and then we'll just kind of decide from there what we want to do. Like I said, it would be kind of nice to go for these guys, although I don't think of Verland. I mean, they're okay with us.
Sigma's will.
We could try to get
an agreement will be reached
a non-aggression with them.
Sons of Sigma.
Now they're gonna like that we're killing Black Venom too, so maybe we can get aggression with them and declare war on like a lot of the vampire counts. That does help you out quite a bit diplomacy-wise with other factions. So let's go ahead and we want to do channeling stance. You have several different stances that are pretty good. Channeling, I think, is one of the best ones. You get an extra 25 magic reserve. Anything that has wizards, that's going to be super strong and definitely worth the -3 melee attack in a lot of situations. And then they have this one, which gives you extra missile damage and ammo, which is really nice if you have a lot of artillery or a lot of missile infantry. But it does lower your campaign movement quite a bit, whereas channeling has no penalty other than the melee attack. You know, let's go ahead and hit these guys.
Ulrich's will.
I think we'll just go ahead and auto-resolve this. That did hurt a little bit more than I thought it would, but... And as usual, he's pretty much always going to take the money.
On march.
Nice, got a student. That's a pretty good pickup early
I
on.
am ready. Are you?
Now, we could just try to bomb rush Karen. The thing is, they have a lot of units here right now. Good job, Rory.
Yes.
What are you doing? What is that? Oh, is that a treat? Did you give her whatever this is?
Yes, veggie burger.
Okay.
Step to it.
Leftover veggie burger.
That will work.
Okay. I think I maybe should have just fought that manually, because I think I could take less casualties there. But yeah, we're going to go with hounds here. Now, they did nerf the magic. If you've watched my last campaign, the hounds are still fairly cheap, but they nerfed them a bit, because you get the 20% off of all metal magic, which is not reflected here in these costs. Then you can also go over and grab Lord Master of Metal, which is an additional minus a flat amount early on, and then some of these items also give reduced amounts. That one gives cooldown reduction on spells. Let's see, this one gives Glittering Robe is down. I thought there was another one that went down too, but maybe not. Either way, like with the last campaign that I did with SFO, you could get these hounds down to like 4 or 5 cost. And they had like a 20-second cooldown, so you could just keep spamming them. So that is a lot less effective than it has been in the past, but nevertheless, you still want to upgrade these. And so it's 13 right now and lasts 15 seconds. But if you do overcast it now, then you get 2 of them. So you get a 2-for-1 for what will be like 15 eventually. So probably not as good as spamming the original one, but still okay. And then I think this, the Searing Doom actually does some pretty decent damage. So the magic is definitely a bit weaker than it used to be, but it's still pretty decent. Okay. So I think we gotta hire some more swordsmen here to take this siege down. I don't think we're gonna be able to get it next turn, but maybe the turn after that. Because it's just a bunch of infantry. The archers are okay, but they're not amazing. I guess we'll just grab another one of these. And now we have these forts. And I think the best thing to do at the fort is just to go for this, which is upkeep reduction minus 3% for basically all of your entry-level units, which is pretty strong. Other option would be this for extra trade income. But I think we'll go with that. And these forts are just kind of difficult for the enemy to make it through, so that's pretty handy. Good job, Rory. Okay, and Faldorf, we want to just go ahead and upgrade this to try to get to crossbowmen as fast as possible. You'll notice our growth is terrible. It's actually negative. We have no growth right now. We actually literally have no growth. So, because this building gives us -10, and we're getting -10 from this, so still have any growth. So that makes it challenging. Now, one thing that we can do, though, is we can take the taxation off of this next turn. But I do want to be able to hire for this turn. If you take taxes off, then it does give you 50 growth and will allow you to climb up a little bit. Because we just need to get to tier 3, and then that allows us to get great swords if we get this upgraded all the way. And that's really what we want. We want to just max out those great swords ASAP. Now, this does allow us to trade some wine with people, potentially, which could be pretty good, money-wise. Some other buildings they added in, which are interesting. You can get this common temple shrine, which allows you to buy certain techs, which we'll talk about here in a second. But it's really not that great overall, but if you do want to get one of the minor god techs, which costs a lot of money, then you can get it, and that's how you would do it. They did remove some of the units, like they got rid of the Tutagen Guard, I think, and the is it like the Vampire Hunter Retinue, the Witch Hunter Retinue, which were like some elite archers. So, you know, that kind of weakens us a little bit, these trees a little bit, but if you go all the way up, then you can devote yourself to a certain god, either Ulrich or Sigmar, and get all kinds of bonuses there. So it's still pretty cool to figure out like which religion you want to go into. And now you get the Witch Hunter at tier 3 instead of tier 4, which is great. Because the Witch Hunter's really not that great. He's alright. He has the damage walls, actually. So we do want this guy for the damage walls. But it's nice that you can just get him off of the tavern, which helps you out with public order anyways. So I think that's pretty cool that we can get a Witch Hunter without having to wait to tier 4. And then you have a good assortment of like either growth off of fields or Weaving House. Is one of the better money buildings you can get out there. And then this also can give you growth, but it also gives you 15% movement speed through an area, which is pretty nice as well. And then they took away, you don't have to have a secondary building for greatswords anymore, which is awesome. So the only reason you need blacksmiths now are for the knights. So you need it for all of the like Knights of the White Wolf, Reiksguard, Knights Panther, Knights of the Blazing Sun. These are all chapter knights where you have to have certain buildings that are usually up around Altdorf to get these. So we're not going to have access to those anytime soon. So we're not going to need that, which is handy. And then this, you need this for steam tanks and demigryphs eventually. So, I think that's nice because having so many secondary units can just be kind of terrible, especially with Balthasar's town. Just sucks. Like, you feel like you're kind of priced into getting this Faldorf wine market because it just gives you a lot of money. So you want to keep that, but then you only have like, you don't have, like, whenever I level up, I'm only going to get one slot because it's an 8-slot town. So I'm just going to have like one building here. I'm already going to have to choose. Do I want, the great swords, which, yes, that's what we're going to get. But then also this is kind of tough because I would also like mortars. So it's tricky enough as it is. So this start position is definitely harder than Karl's. Karl gets a lot of elite units to begin with, and he gets Altdorf, which is a 12-slot town, which means when you level up to level 2, you get 2 more slots, and level 3, you get an additional 2 slots. So, he's going to be rolling with like 7 slots, I believe, once he's getting a tier 3. It's either 6 or 7 slots, whereas me at tier 3, I'm going to have 3 slots. So, yeah, it feels bad. Okay, as far as techs go, now there are a lot of different things you can get, so, you can get this devotion. Now, I'm not sure if these, I think you can still get one of these. Only one major deity can be chosen from this group. And so you get one major and one minor deity. So if you get Ulrich, now this requires tier 5. You get to choose one of 4 faction-wide army abilities. I'm not sure what those are, but that sounds cool. And this gives post-battle loot, plus 6 melee and vigor loss reduction. And this one gives hit points, melee defense, and untainted. So pretty cool. You have to have special buildings for this. Fealty threshold for which factions will trigger civil wars and secessions is lower. Okay. And then this one is you have to have Altdorf at a city, which I think is at tier 5. I'm not sure, but it's high. And then as far as these minor gods go, these new minor gods you can get, this gives reinforcement and fear, not that great. Research rate plus 40% and 2 public order. That's pretty sweet. That's 15,000 gold to get that upgraded, though. Physical resist is okay. Growth and recruitment capacity, that's also really strong. Magic resist and leadership's alright. Naval movement range is okay. Port money's pretty good. War of Life specifically and replenishment is okay. Now, I'm probably not going to be getting War of Life because it's been nerfed a lot, as most magic has been. We'll talk about that later. And then the magic item chance. This was pretty good. I mean, 50%. You're going to be getting a lot of magical items. That's kind of cool. I wish you could sell them, like the ones you don't need, but So I think the ultimate choice will be either research rate and public order or growth and recruitment. And we'll see what we want to do there. Both are good. I'm kind of leaning towards this because there are a lot of good researches that you want. A lot. So research rate is very good. I think they might have some of the best suite of researches out there as far as like the sheer number of useful researches. And then down here, this is the same thing, or very similar to what you could get with the Wolfheart campaign. It's been changed a little bit, but basically these top ones are really good relations with certain factions. The most notable one, obviously, is going to be plus 25 with Empire. So that's pretty solid. Obviously, you're going to want that as early as you can get it. And then one of them is, let's say it's fighting elves. This one, weapon strength when fighting Norska, Chaos, and Beastmen can be pretty strong. And then the vampire counts one's okay too. But the big one's going to be this one right here, if we can get to that. The +1 public order is also nice. And then as far as the researches go, the key ones that you want kind of early on, this right here, the 10 armor is very good for your front line. It also has -10 upkeep for pretty much everything that's a cheap unit. So that's very, very strong. This is probably one of the best early game fighting type units. That right there is probably the best economy one you can get, and this one's the best fighting one you can get in the early game. And then you also, it scales into some pretty nice stuff. 10% weapon strength for all infantry. That includes great swords, as well as your early units. And then +4 melee defense. And +2 capacity for great swords, which is handy, and missile resist. So that one's pretty good. Armor for Cav is pretty nice. +4/+4 blinkers. So we won't go through all of these, but you get extra 2 demigryphs because that's 1 for each type of demigryph. So that's really good. Then weapon strength, firing drills, artillery, damage, ammo, or it's reload time, missile damage, and then recruitment duration, so you can hire the big stuff faster. Upkeep reduction. So this is pretty solid, especially the reload time, and the this stuff right here is pretty good early on. Then this is ammo for all of your missile infantry, reload time for missile infantry. Now that's missile infantry and your horses, your pistoliers and outriders, which are very good. So that's very strong. That's the same thing as very good. Now that's only missile damage for the horses. That's only missile damage for your foot guys. And then +10 for all missile units. I believe that includes artillery. So that's super handy. And then you have kind of your econ stuff over here. This, the +10 growth and +2 public order is certainly super strong early. And then the recruit, rank, and cost. I think the recruitment cost is up quite a bit with SFO these days. And settlement buildings is very good later on. Trade, campaign movement range, and then you get like ward recruit rank and some of these other things later on. So this is good later on in the game, but this one might actually be the first one that we get because we have no growth right now, so having growth is pretty good. And then the public order is good. Although, I don't know, like, we can just not tax the province and just not get, like, 400 gold a turn in order to get our growth, because we only need to get to tier 3, really, with our first town. And then we can go for this, so maybe I do just go for this instead. The +2 public order is legit, though. But I think I'll just pay the gold. Because this is going to give us so much extra gold. Like, this upkeep reduction is going to save us a lot. So, I think I'll go with this. And then this down here is, like, money, just money stuff. The research rate's pretty good. Extra capacity for different things. So, there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of, like, pretty good things. But, yeah, I think we're going to go with this. The armor and then this upkeep reduction is really, really strong. Yeah, I think that's what we'll go with first. Okay, so we're just gonna hire. We're gonna put the taxes back on for now, and then we're gonna get the 4-foot soldiers. We can't hire any of these other things. Let's see here. Vesenland doesn't like us. Now, if they declare war on me, I'm not really sure how that affects things, but we can try to play nice with the Verlands.
Greetings, my countrymen. Do you come in peace? I'll ignore that.
Now, is anyone at war with vampire counts right now?
I hunt.
Just Templehof. So I could wait and see if someone will pay us to go to war with the vampire counts, or I could just go to war with them right now. The thing is, if I want to go over and fight vampire counts early, I'm going to have to trespass on a Verland. I think I'm going to go ahead and just declare war on them.
Speak thy words, and pray to thine pitiful little gods that they would.
And the main reason for that is I just want,
This action does not have my consent.
you see that gives me +10 war with vampire counts early. So I just kind of want to go ahead and get that bonus rolling in.
Surely an agreement will be reached. I will not obey.
Okay, so we'll see. Now, I don't know exactly what to do with Clan Ongrand because we can try to trade with them,
We should stand together.
or we can just go down and kill them. Because we have to fight somebody, so the option is, I'll go ahead and end the turn, and then we'll talk through some of the options that I think you have early on. Okay. So that's all the diplomacy we can do. We can't do anything else, or we don't want to do anything else right now. Okay. So, couple of options. So obviously you don't want to fight your other elector counts early on, which is kind of nice for Balthasar because I have the option of getting out of this property pretty early and fighting different things. With Altdorf, it's a little trickier. You'd pretty much just have to fight like Bretonnia. Maybe, I guess you could get into the mountains and maybe start killing some dwarves and things like that, but you probably have to fight Bretonnia, which is fine. My option here, though, is I could start like lighting up these dwarfs and going down and knocking out some of the southern realms. And that would start giving me more, like, just allow me to level up, allow me to get more settlements. The more settlements that you own, the more imperial prestige that you get. So that would be a good way of, like, gaining property. I'm just going to auto-resolve this because we're going to win it. And the victory type doesn't matter because there's no lord there, so... Like, this thing is, like, it's really difficult for people to beat this early on. The way that the map is laid out, it heavily favors the defender on those special siege areas. So, just a little extra cash. Now, the dwarves are going to like that because we just killed the skull takers also. But yeah, so we can play nice with the dwarves, or we can just roll down and try to kill them. Okay, so I can give Marienburg independence for 3,000 gold. That means I can't declare war on them for like 40 turns, which they're pretty far out of my way. Now they can declare war on me, which is fine. So I'm just going to take the money. I'm fine with that. Hurts my diplomacy with Nordland. Whatever. They're also really far out of my way. Okay.
I am ready. Are you?
So we want to make sure those items go on him. If at all possible. I guess we can't put them on him. Those are only for heroes, and we don't have any heroes yet. The same thing with student, which is kind of awkward.
What? Yes, that will do.
Okay, so they don't have another lord over here
It
yet.
is time.
Now we can hit Steingart if we want to. But I think we want to take this out before they get a lord over here. So I'm just gonna go to like right here, I think. I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough without running all the way up here. I kind of want to raid it, but I need to make sure we get this in one turn. Because running through these mountains sucks. One thing about Empire that is kind of sad. Oh, you get, I didn't realize you get encamped for 25%. Usually it's 50%. Okay, that's pretty nice.
I will.
We do not want to global stuff in. Now what we can do is take the taxes off. We're going to lose 460 gold, but we do buy a lot of growth for that. We get 50 growth. And it helps out with our public order stuff going on here, so that's nice.
Yes.
And Carl is the real prize. We want Altdorf, so we want to try to get friendly with him as soon as we can. Okay, they don't like our Marienburg thing. We're not gonna be able to. We're not gonna be able to trade with a Verland.
Approach and make your offer.
To battle?
Men of the Empire, what brings you here?
So I would like to trade with them, but I might also like to kill them. I hate killing them because they are actually pretty friendly with me early. But anyways, okay. Don't want to do any electoral machinations, I don't believe. So we'll just save up. Now, one reason I didn't want to go for Steingart there is I want to knock out the capital of Carrickaren first before they're able to hire up another army to defend that. And whenever I go back and occupy Steingart, then I want to be able to hire some archers. And we can't hire the archers yet because we're waiting on the building for them. So that's part of it. And then, you know, I kind of have to make a decision there. I have to run through a Verland if I wanted to, like, just run straight at the Empire, or the Vampire Counts. I have to run through a Verland's property, and I don't have military access with them, so that's going to hurt me diplomatically with them. Oh, that's one thing that, I don't remember if I just mentioned that or not, but that's one thing that's kind of annoying is I don't have underway, so I can't get through these mountains very easily. Which is pretty frustrating. And there's like a little river down here that you just can't cross very easily at all. Okay, so we're just going to do faction-wide caps. I think I've tried the other way with the army caps. It's annoying. Okay, we can't get extra Imperial Authority because we don't have enough. And there's no way to get enough early on, I'm pretty sure. At least not on Legendary. So we're going to have to just do nothing. But yeah, those are like one of those events, you know, that you want. So we get 10 per turn with settlements. And I guess if you construct a building, you gain a little bit more. Like, there are several things that you can do to get more. But yeah, you kind of want to just save it up for those events. You can't use it on heroes or lords, I don't believe, like you can with high elves. But sorry, I got a bit of a cold here. Okay, let's go ahead and knock out Carrickaren.
Do not waste my potential.
See, he's level 8 already. So, like, enemy lords start off level 8. All new lords they hire on Legendary.
By the comet.
And, like, their units get extra chevrons and things like that. So they get a lot of bonuses. Okay, let's go with, excuse me, channeling stance.
I shall be victorious. No peace, just war.
Now, it's still not going to be a walk in the park here early on. Our units are a little dinged up still. Not a ton, but a little bit. And we don't have a lot of ranks yet. Okay, we can actually do a siege tower instead of this. Usually we don't have enough people to do siege towers, but that's pretty cool. They let us do that in one turn. Is that better? Yeah. I think that's probably better. Now, we don't have any upgrades with these dudes yet. So it's going to be tricky, but I think we can do it with siege towers, and we have to continue siege. Because the mortar itself is not going to be able to knock out the door, and we don't have anything that can crack walls, so we're just going to have to wait a turn. Which sort of sucks, but... Okay, Wiesenland. Try to trade with them. They do like our military actions against Skull Takers.
Greetings on behalf of the Empire. Now what brings...
Never! Yes. Greetings on behalf of the Empire. Now I refuse.
What? In these dark times, we should stand together.
I mean, he does make a good point. I could just ignore him and go knock out Carrick Hearn. He is pretty tough to beat early on because of those ghosts. We don't have a ton of friends.
Fulfilling vows.
Okay. So we do need some trade partners too, so we make a little bit of money. And that's fine. So we won't kill him.
I'll do it.
By the comet.
Okay, and this, we're still just going to leave this off. We're just trying to preserve public order as much as we can. We are losing out on money, but we're preserving public order, and most importantly, we're getting 50 growth so that we can eventually pop up to here. And the big thing that we want here are the great swords, the Empire captains, and then eventually we can get halberdiers as well, which also don't require the blacksmith anymore, so that's really handy. We do not want to upgrade this pretty much ever. I mean, you do get extra, like, it affects how good your projectiles are, but that's pretty much it. You do get a little bit of a better garrison, I think, as well. But you can't ever hire anything. It doesn't give, like, you can't get any other buildings or anything, so it's really not that much of a point unless you really, really need it, like, for protection. Okay. And I think with this most recent mod, they pushed back Chaos to where they don't come in for much longer into the game. I don't really like that. I kind of wish that, I kind of like that Chaos comes in a bit, like, I don't know. The first wave of Chaos coming in at, like, 30 to 40 turns, and the second wave coming in at, like, 60 to 70 with Archaon and stuff. I like that timing. But I think they've made it to where the second wave doesn't even come in until like 150 or something turns in, which is too long. I don't know the average campaign turn length, but maybe it's much higher than mine. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of campaigns are already decided by the time that happens. Oh, they're sallying out on me in the field. Okay. Alright, let's do it. Even better. Now, if we can kill enough of them here, then we might just be able to auto-resolve. So yeah, they only have one pack of archers. They don't have a lord. Now you also get this cool buff here. That you can put on people with Imperial Tactics every now and then. The big one is reload and accuracy, so you can put this on your mortar. Or you can put it on somebody else, like put this on the great swords for the armor piercing damage as well and the melee defense. It gives a pretty well-rounded buff to a single unit.
By Ulrich's wrath!
The Empire
Which I think is pretty cool.
endures.
What is this? Okay, magical missile. Okay, so we want to use that on somebody fairly early on.
Great swords! The Empire
They
endures!
didn't have any
Great swords! Crossbows ready, General!
any sorts of cavalry or anything, so
Our steeds are restless! Outriders! Sigmar commands! For the Emperor! To battle! Yes, sir! Quickly! At speed! Cannons fire! Outriders! Quick march! Powder
I need to try to
dry!
get behind them if I can. So I get around their shields, because their shields will block some of this.
Wall of metal!
They'll never move again.
We await your orders! For the Heldenhammer!
Jeez, that's really close range. Okay, there we go.
I am master of Shalom. Ulrich's wrath on them. Haste gold magic.
Mortar! Sigmar calls! Fire! Fire! For the twin-tailed comet! Ready for war! We obey!
So they do go for flanks a lot more.
Haste gold magic.
Go! Sigmar guides us! Swordsmen! Quick march! Take aim! Quickly! Charge! To battle! Outriders! Swordsmen! Take the ground! Take position!
No lingering.
Great swords! Sigmar calls! By Galmaraz!
We are Sigmar's heirs. I am master of Shalom.
Quick march! Yes, sir! Quickly! Outriders! To battle!
Armor melts.
Swordsman! Ready for war! Charge!
Get them.
Crossbowman! For Heldenhammer! Swordsmen! Formation! March!
By my will alone. Haste gold magic.
Outriders! Formation! March! Moving now!
Kiting them around.
Bow before me.
Okay, so they're done.
At speed.
Yes, sir!
Take position.
Ready for war! Mortar! We are Sigmar's heirs! Yes, sir! Quickly! No lingering! Ready for war! Taking position! Swordsman!
Fall and stop. Battle awaits.
Swordsman! By Ulrich's wrath! In the name of the twin-tailed comet!
Yeah, I wish we had some more Outriders over here. Because we're going to have to fight these guys again.
I am master of Shadow. Go!
Now, if you do tell him to cast something, then he walks. So you got to make sure you tell him to run. So he gets in range of stuff.
I am master of Shadow.
The goblins ran the other way. I would like to get more Pistoliers or Outriders. I think they lowered the cost on Outriders or on Pistoliers significantly. They used to be like $275. They're way too expensive. Now they're like $200, so they are much, much more viable on Legendary.
You don't need to go punch right now. You just
Oh, what you got there, Rory? You cooking a little bit?
She's sitting on the stairs and she's looking outside. It's like dark. She's looking at the lights. She said, "I'm scared." It's like, "You're scared? What's wrong?" She's like, "I have French fry." So, not sure she understands the concept of scared. Or she might have been saying someone on the show was scared.
I say, I'm scared. Sweet.
My parents will be here in like 20 minutes. Pictures tomorrow. You did this. How about we go on? By tomorrow.
10
10.
a.m.?
Yes, 10 a.m.
What?
Honey, I'm sure it's on your calendar.
Oh my gosh.
What is this? Is that a exercising hot dog man?
Nah.
No. What is it?
It's
Down a drop.
Rory.
That's Rory?
It is
Oh
Rory.
my.
It's Rory with her headband.
We're Rory with your headband. I see. Who drew that? You down to draw that?
Rory drew it.
She's very advanced.
Not so.
Do what?
Ambush. Okay, so we did manage to beat them, which is nice. We're still gonna have to do this siege, though.
Is this comfortable?
Yeah, I guess we'll allow beasts. I mean, beastmen are really annoying to deal with, but
There. Are you gonna let me put your hair in pigtails? So
I
we
am
can
the
look at
supreme
the color
patriarch.
pictures?
I shall be victorious.
Pictures.
say, okay, so we want to upgrade the hounds, and then we don't metal shift that often. Now, this is only within 100 meters also, so it's not map wide like it used to be. But I think we need to start getting Empire's Finest. Well, maybe Route Marcher, because
This marker is
we're going to be covering some ground.
Rory, I think this marker is
And then we're going to have to get probably Empire's Finest next. Now, Pistol Corps, they changed this around a little bit. Pistol Corps now is for Pistoliers, Outriders, and all of your infantry missile units. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's dead.
And I think you get a free use of this too. So I don't...
Marker went. It doesn't work anymore.
It says it's an item? I don't know if you just get a Wand of Jet for spending an ability point, or if you just naturally get to hold this without having to take up an item slot for it.
Sadie.
If you can naturally hold it without an item slot, that'd be really sweet.
She's what?
It's basically like a free 20 extra Winds of Magic or something with Wand of Jet, so we'll see how that goes. Isn't that right, Rory?
Ulrich's will. No peace, just
Okay, they
war.
are going to let us auto it, which is nice, so we don't have to actually do the siege, because the siege just takes forever. We did take a hit on it, but we are going to get to replenish. We don't have a ton of replenishment. I mean, I would have won that much cleaner, because we had the siege towers, but I just didn't want to spend the 15 minutes doing it. you doing, Rory? Hi. Can you say hi, camera? You have a marker? Yeah. You trying to mark the camera?
No, we don't mark our camera. We only draw on the whiteboard with the marker.
I am ready. Are you?
Trying to put it in my hand.
Oh.
It's like I'm holding a cigarette or something in the camera. You got Daddy's wallet? Already?
Honey. Did I put it on the shelf?
Okay. We're gonna go Empire's Finest.
It is Daddy. That's right. It's Daddy.
So we do want the +8 here.
Look at Daddy. How young Daddy looks without his beard.
I am the Supreme Patriarch.
I'm just gonna go ahead.
That's right.
Let us begin.
Oh my gosh, our replenishment is so low. Let's see. I don't think we need much more in the way of Empire Swordsman, so maybe we just don't even hire anything here. I guess we can combine these
Do not waste
just for
my
the sake of
potential.
replenishment and maybe grab like 2 more.
Oh, can you put those back in Daddy's wallet, please?
I don't know why we can hire 4. I guess usually you can only hire 3. So I'm not sure why we're able to hire 4. Maybe that's a special trait or something that Balthasar has that I missed. Or no, that's his elector count trait, isn't it? Yeah, extra recruitment capacity in all provinces. That's really handy. Thank you, Rory. Thank you. Okay. Gonna go with this, and then after this, we can just get rid of this and put something else there. Let's try to hold this property a little bit. Now, one thing that's really annoying is, like I said, the way this geography is set up now, you have to run down through here to get into this area. So you either have to run through the mountains, or you just can't get across this river, I'm pretty sure. Now, I think there's a way. Yeah, there's a little bridge, so you can go up in there, but it takes a moment. Okay.
You summon me.
The Empire. I will listen, but my time is short. I'll ignore that.
Okay. Aveirland likes our Black Venom stuff. Sort of. But
Sigma's will. Surely an agreement will be reached. I refuse.
watch the vampires just like ignore everybody and just send everything they have at me right now.
Darkness comes.
So,
Bye-bye.
Ready.
Going.
Step forth, true friend of the Ungrund clan.
Okay, that's fine, I suppose. Maybe they'll pay us some money.
Step forth, true friend of the Ungrund clan.
I will not.
Hi. Good.
Welcome, men of the Empire. No,
Eh,
Anad. Aye. Let's hear
She's
what
a
you have
friendly
to say.
baby.
We'll hear. Aye.
Good. How are you? Bye.
yeah. Okay. Still don't want to use any of my elector count, my prestige money here.
Hi. I'm good. How are you? Okay.
Okay. If you win battles, it looks like you get some also. Yeah.
Hi. I'm good. How are you? Bye.
Were you guys doing that on the boxes yesterday for a while?
Yes.
The other day?
Okay. I can come in.
It wasn't just random.
Good, how are you? Okay, bye. She's the one, not me.
Oh.
Saying come in. Hi. How are you? Oh, bye.
Alright, well that's going to be it for this episode. So we got to decide how we're going to handle this. It's not quite as cut and dry what we should be doing here.
Hi.
Remember, we do not want to declare war on the elector counts.
Bye.
We've befriended the dwarves. We do not have military access with them right now, so running through, they may not like that.
Hi. Good, how are you?
Vampire counts seem like a good
Okay, bye.
attack target, but at the same time, like, I'm going to have to run through other property, and I'm not going to be able to get replenishment. I'm not going to have a good place I can fall back on. Rumors are false. We'll let people fight each other if they want to.
I'm good, how are you? Okay, bye.
Gain access to iron. Well, it just so happens, if I delete this building, then I can throw in some iron.
I am
Get a free 1,500 gold. That's handy. So I think we just go finish Steingart right now.
You what? What'd you say? Bye.
Now, Karak Angzahar.
Can I come in? Can I come in?
We could go for Karak Angzahar and Border Princes.
Let us begin.
You're what?
And try to fight them.
Bye.
The thing is, like, if we get these guys, that would count, I believe, as pulling more people into elector count property,
Never.
which is good for your ultimate thing, like adding settlements back to the elector counts.
Can I come in? Hi.
So bringing stuff back into the Empire is good. So we ultimately, we want to, because these guys do not show fealty either.
What house?
So taking either one, bringing either one of these back into the fold would be
Foolish
nice.
mortal.
It's a funny.
But the problem is we have to run through here, so...
Whose house? Neil's house? Okay, bye.
We'll think about it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode, so stay tuned. It will definitely be getting a lot spicier. We're definitely going to come over, grab Steingart, grab some crossbowmen, and then just decide if we want to go south. We could also knock out, try to go after Grimhold. Now, if you do have great swords, when we get to the great swords, those are definitely extremely good against dwarfs early on, because it just carves right through their armor. And dwarves really don't have an answer for that until they get to hammers. The like long beards with great weapons are okay, but they don't have AoE attacks, sweeping attacks, and great swords do. So I still think great swords will beat them. And cannons, or like the mortars, are very, very good against against just most dwarfs, because they're very slow moving and they're just going to get bombarded by the mortars. So it's I don't know. Yeah, we're not trading much of this wine. I guess we are getting some. Oh, we're only exporting 7%. We're getting 45 gold off that trade agreement. I mean, it might even be correct to just sell. That just sounds ridiculous, though, but to sell this,
Rory's house? Can I come in?
because we're not even getting money off of it right now.
Can I come in?
Because we're not taxing it. Just to sell that and get an artillery, a gunsmith, so that we can get mortars.
How are you? Bye. Okay, bye.
Actually, no. I forgot. Okay, so we don't. This doesn't take up an extra building slot. I don't know what I was thinking. I just have to upgrade this, which is already a building slot. Okay, so that's perfect. So we can get this, then we upgrade this, grab this, and then we can get great swords and mortars. That's going to take a good bit of money, but we can pull that off, and that's perfect. And then I guess we're just not going to get this other stuff. I mean, it's a 2-province town and just an 8-stack town. Or a 2-town province and your capital is 8 stacks is just pretty rough. Compared to, like, Altdorf, once again, is you have 4 different towns. You got, like, a 12-stack capital or a 10-stack capital. But anyways, we'll get back at it next time, so we should be able to get some semi-elite units over the next couple of episodes, so we can start pushing out either towards the dwarfs or the vampire counts. I'll have to think about... I feel like the vampire count matchups are a little bit tougher, but maybe not, than the dwarf matchups. Castle Drakenhoff's definitely going to be very, very difficult. We're probably not going to be able to siege that. And occupying, we can occupy these properties, but they are vampiric, so there's going to be massive public order problems. However, that would allow us to fight a lot of rebellions as well, which could gain us some political favor and would certainly allow us to power level up Balthasar pretty quickly as he sort of just hacks his way through all those zombies. So we'll see. I think right now I'm leaning towards just going for the bum rush on the vampire counts, but anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. If you enjoy this campaign, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. Right now, it's just $30 for 15 episodes. If you want to do that, if you are a channel member, you can hit that join button near the subscribe button if you'd like. It's just $5 a month. It helps out a ton on the channel, and I'll give you a $5 discount if you want to sponsor a campaign and you are a member. But otherwise, that's going to be it. Check out the rest of the content on the channel as well. I have tons of legendary campaigns, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.